After the explosive ending of The Beekeeper, 2024, where Adam Clay, Jason Statham, exposed corruption within the system, he vanished into the wind, a ghost among the bees. The sequel, The Beekeeper 2, Hive War, opens with a symbolic shot of an abandoned hive, bees swarming in confusion, mirroring the fractured organization he once served. Months later, whispers spread across intelligence agencies. Someone is eliminating corrupt political figures across continents, and each crime scene leaves behind a drop of honey and a burned hive mark. Adam Clay is believed dead, but a new beekeeper has emerged, using his name as a myth. The balance of justice has shifted. Clay R.'s peaceful life tending hives in a remote village is shattered when a young woman arrives. Eve, the daughter of his late mentor. She carries a coded message: the hive has been infiltrated. Clay realizes the beekeepers are no longer protectors. They've become predators. The Beekeeper organization, once a secret force to maintain moral order, has been hijacked by a shadow council known as the Swarm Directive. They've turned the beekeepers into an international hit squad for corporate power. The new leader, Director Vale, sees Clay's philosophy of protecting the innocent as outdated and weak. Vale creates synthetic beekeepers, soldiers enhanced through experimental behavioral programming, designed to follow commands without conscience. When Eve reveals that her father tried to stop this transformation and was killed for it, Clay's quiet resolve ignites into purpose once again. The Beekeeper 2 evolves from personal revenge to a war for the soul of justice itself. Clay must dismantle the organization he helped build, hive by hive, before the swarm consumes the world. The film expands the Beekeeper universe into a global action thriller, taking the fight from rural American farmlands to London, Morocco, and Prague. Each city hides a hive, a base of operations disguised as innocent businesses. The tone blends espionage with grounded brutality. Clay infiltrates honey farms that double as weapons labs, data centers disguised as pollination facilities, and training camps posing as agricultural research sites. Each mission reveals another layer of deceit. As Clay destroys each hive, Vale releases the Swarm, a team of elite beekeepers, each trained under Clay's own doctrine but now corrupted by greed. Their leader, Agent Hornet, becomes Clay's dark reflection, a man who believes control through fear is the only way to preserve order. The film AS tagline echoes: the hive protects the world. But who protects the hive? Eve is more than a messenger. She's a digital genius who grew up inside the Beekeeper network. Her father taught her to encrypt intelligence in honeycomb data structures, digital cells designed to self-destruct under surveillance. She helps Clay uncover an operation called Project Nectar, a global blackmail database controlling political leaders through personal secrets. The Beekeepers were never just about justice. They were built as a failsafe against moral collapse, now corrupted into blackmail and manipulation. Clay sees that the Swarm Directive isn't just destroying lives. It is rewriting truth itself. Eve becomes the emotional anchor, forcing Clay to confront his guilt over how his blind loyalty helped birth this monster. The mentor-student dynamic slowly evolves into a father-daughter bond, giving the film a heart beneath its violence. Midway through the film, Clay is captured by Vale's forces and taken to the Hive Cathedral, a secret underground base built beneath a pesticide plant. There, Vale reveals his plan: to replace all human beekeepers with AI-driven drones capable of moral reasoning calculated by algorithms. The human conscience is obsolete, he argues. In a chilling speech, Vale compares morality to honey: sweet but slow, and easily poisoned. Clay, restrained, watches as the drones are activated. Using Eve's code, he triggers a chain reaction, escaping in a fiery explosion that becomes one of the film's signature set pieces. The destruction of the Hive Cathedral symbolizes Clay's rejection of artificial morality and his realization that true justice must remain human, flawed, and compassionate. With each destroyed hive, Clay becomes a symbol, a ghostly vigilante whose name spreads through whispers and encrypted networks. Former beekeepers begin to defect, forming a resistance called the Wild Hive. They operate without orders, guided only by moral instinct. Clay trains them not as soldiers, but as guardians. The film's second act builds into an underground revolution where justice is no longer organized but organic, a living swarm against corruption. The cinematography draws parallels between the movements of bees and Clay's tactical strikes, collective coordination without command. It's an evolution of the franchise's identity, from lone vengeance to collective resistance. As the Swarm Directive begins to collapse, Vale deploys Agent Hornet, Clay's former apprentice, whose loyalty was broken years ago. Hornet believes in absolute control, that chaos must be ruled by fear. His confrontation with Clay becomes the film's moral battlefield. Their fight is both philosophical and physical. Two ideologies clashing through brutal, precise combat. The choreography that emphasizes contrast, Hornet's mechanical precision versus Clay's natural rhythm, reflecting the theme of humanity versus programming. During their duel in an abandoned apiary filled with burning hives, Hornet accuses Clay of hypocrisy. "You burned the world to save your conscience," Clay replies. "A conscience is all that's left when the world burns." It's one of the most memorable lines of the film. Eve exposes Vale's corruption to the world, leaking the Project Nectar files. Global chaos erupts as governments scramble to contain the fallout. The Swarm Directive retaliates by launching drone attacks on cities, the world's first digital corporate war. Clay leads the Wild Hive into a desperate final stand at a massive honey refinery on the coast. The refinery, symbolizing both creation and exploitation, becomes a battleground of fire, honey, and steel. As the refinery burns, Clay faces Vale in a final confrontation amid rivers of molten honey. Vale argues that corruption is nature, unavoidable, cyclical. Clay responds, "Then maybe it's time nature bites back." He detonates the refinery, taking Vale and the swarm with it. Clay survives, but disappears once again. Months later, Eve rebuilds the Beekeeper legacy into a transparent humanitarian network dedicated to protecting whistleblowers and exposing corruption. She calls it the Garden, a peaceful evolution of the Hive's original purpose. The final act reveals that Clay has retreated into the wilderness, tending hives far from civilization. His voiceover echoes softly. A beekeeper doesn't control the hive. He protects it from itself. The camera pans to a horizon filled with wildflowers and free bees, a visual metaphor for freedom, balance, and the fragile harmony between chaos and order. In the post-credits scene, a surviving hornet crawls from the rubble clutching a vial labeled Project Resurrection. He injects himself whispering, "The hive always rebuilds." The screen fades to black, with the buzzing sound growing louder, teasing the Beekeeper 3, Resurrection. The sequel sets up a darker, more psychological future, one where Clay's ideals face a new era of technological corruption. The Beekeeper 2 is not just a revenge film, it's a reflection on control, morality, and the cost of purity in a polluted world, where even justice can be weaponized.